Hello and welcome once again to Quarterlight. Today we're going to look at another French classic, the Peugeot 504, which replaced the Peugeot 404. It was a front-engined rear-wheel drive car and was launched in 1968 to become the flagship of the Peugeot fleet. It ran until 1983. It was mainly available in two models, the 4-door saloon and the 5-door estate, although there was a 2-door convertible and a 2-door coupe. In 1969, it was named European Car of the Year. In 1970, the estate was launched in two models, the Break and the Familial as it was named in France, the latter being a 7-seater estate car. The estate is what we're going to be having a look at today. In two brochures from the UK, one from 1974 and one from 1976, and we'll have a quick look at the colours as well at some point. So let's have a look at them brochures now. So there we have it. There are today's two brochures we're going to have a quick look at. This first one here is the earlier one from 74. At the bottom there is a dealer stamp showing Coventry, and the second one from 76, there isn't a dealer stamp on here. It just quite simply says 1976 on them. And we're looking at two brochures today of the same vehicle for the simple reason the first brochure is quite an unusual one. This is the earlier one, and really when you look at it, it doesn't make a whole great deal of sense. This is a much more sensible brochure. I guess the early one they tried to make it a little bit fancy and an unusual location, but we'll open the brochures up now and have a look at them. And there we have it. It's in this strange Wild West scene. I have no idea why they would choose to do it in the Wild West scene. It looks like they're producing a movie in the Wild West and showing a French car in America, and this brochure is for the UK market. It really doesn't make any sense at all, but these are obviously French models of the car, the same picture for each market, and they've used the same pictures, I guess. Originally these first ones were called the 504 Super Lux Estate. That would be the top of the range model. This colour here is called metallic moss green, and it was only available on the 7-seater and this top of the range one. One interesting feature of this top of the range one is this laminated mahogany with protected rubber, which is very fancy, and I would have liked to have seen them when they were new. They must have looked really nice in that mahogany load area. So let's have a look at the next page. So as we look inside it, a very nice interior. I do love these little seats that could fold down and your headrest could slot inside to make an area you could actually sleep in, which was available on this top of the range model. And these seats really look nice excuse me, in that metallic moss green. The spare wheel being located underneath to give this great amount of luggage space. In some ways it does remind me of the last video I made, the Volvo 145. Again, a state car, a great family vehicle, and both this and the Volvo were extremely robust vehicles. Again, these pictures showing this strange Wild West scene, which doesn't make a great deal of sense. But never mind, let's have a look at the next page. The next page is showing the 504 Estate, which is the base model, and you can see it's a lot more ordinary inside. Doesn't have that lovely mahogany as that top of the range version does. A much plainer looking vehicle, but again, just as practical. a really nice centre page, again highlighting that moss green top of the range model there. Next to it being this blue, which would have been called sea blue, and a couple of white models at the back there, again showing this strange filming of this Wild West scene with obvious French number plates on them. The next page shows another white one. This is the family estate, the 7-seater, just called the family estate in the UK. These nice red seats look great with the white, but yeah, the main feature on here was 3 rows of forward facing seats, making it a very practical family vehicle. And finally, one that I'd never heard of before, it's just shown in this particular brochure, the 504 Commercial Estate. It's basically a base model, as you can see the bumper runners there, or bumpettes, however you want to describe them, aren't on there. It's just one plain bumper on there, much plainer design, a real stripped down version. But if you turn the page, the main feature of this really is this load area where you could fold the seats down, and you got this sort of metal area where you could use it as a commercial vehicle, but also a 5-seater car if you wanted to. Again, like I say, not a version that I heard of before I looked in this particular brochure. And this side of the page is showing the engine. It's the XN1 engine, which was a 1971cc 98 brake horsepower engine. It was a family of engines, so for example the XN2 was the same engine which was fuel injected, but it's not on this brochure. This is one available in this particular car. This is the XN1 engine. And the back page is showing a few more specifications. I noticed on here that you was also available on the family estates the XD90 engine. That would be a 2.1cc engine, like I say, available on that family estate. The XD was the family of the inline 4 diesel engines, the D obviously standing for diesel. Okay, so we've looked at that brochure now. We will look at the next one as well, just to give you an idea of what colours were available then. You could have had Alaska white, sand, turquoise, Bordeaux red, sea blue, black, midnight blue, metallic grey, metallic azure blue, metallic moss green and metallic beige. Metallic beige was actually only ever available on that top of the range Super Lux. Anyway, like I say, let's have a look at the next brochure from 1976. So here is that 1976 brochure. It's a much better scene. It's more of a French scene now, so it makes a little bit more sense than that early one. And we can see how the models have changed slightly if you open that up. So let's have a look in there. So the first page again, it shows the top of the range model first. I think this colour is actually sand. It looks a bit white, but I think it's actually referred to as being sand. And you can see up there that it's no longer called the Super Lux. It's now just called the Estate GL. GL being a much more familiar term for the UK market. So I can understand why they changed it. And on the next page, it really gives you a good idea of them really nice seats on there, with these headrests that kind of like slot inside, giving you this bed type platform. A real practical vehicle, and even though it's a very practical vehicle, I think it's still a very good looking car. And here is the next page showing the basic Estate L with this single bumper on the front there. I think this is a much more familiar vehicle. I remember these blue seats being more popular. The blue seats were referred to as being Caribbean blue. So let's look at the next page, see what we're calling the next model. Again, this one, we're just going to call this one the family estate, I guess. The familial, as it would be referred to as in France. This being in a very nice metallic blue colour. And it gives you a good idea of these 3 rows of seats, how they work there. Yes, the back row would have been a difficult one to get into, but still a very practical car at the time. I guess the advantage with these over the Volvo that we looked at in the next video, the previous video I should say, was this extra row of seats, but still in a very robust vehicle. The back page showing what engines are available now, 3 different power plants, and this ZF automatic gearbox optional on that top of the range GL model. The GL and family estate would have had that same 1971cc engine. The XN1. The L estate now had this much smaller 1796cc engine, which was the XM family of inline 4 gas powered engines, and that particular engine was produced from 68 to 1990. They also have diesels like on the previous version. Now it looks like there's an extra diesel power plant now, which is this XD88 engine. Now the XD88 engine was a 1.9 litre unit, although still on the family we still had that XD90, the 2.1 cc engine. And then that brings us to the back page of this particular brochure, showing it in various scenes, much nicer scenes than the previous brochure, I think. Overall, a very attractive and very practical French car. So there we have it, the Peugeot 504. Really known as being a very robust car with long travel suspension. This made it perfect for the African market, and it was actually sold in knockdown kits in Africa for quite some time. In Kenya it ran until 2004, and in Nigeria until 2006. No wonder we still see them running around in the roads in Africa today whenever we see any wildlife programs or any particular program in Africa. There's always a Peugeot running around somewhere. Thank you so much for watching Quarterlight again today. I do enjoy making these videos. I hope you enjoy watching them. Please do like and subscribe if you're able to do so. There is more estates, models and brochures to look at. There is a Volvo one that you can have a look at as well. But for now, thank you for watching, goodbye and take care.